Hello everyone. So usually what I try to do is I try to come with things that you haven't heard somewhere else. So I'm going to really go through quickly the presentation, because otherwise normally it's a presentation that takes us an hour and you will be bored to death. So first of all, how many of you are familiar with security tokens? Okay, so I can already skip that. How many of you hold security tokens? Okay, interesting. Okay, so for those who are not familiar with Tokeny, so Tokeny is a company based out of Luxembourg. We were created a year and a half ago. We are 23 people. We started with a utility token offering, this ICO wave, which has nothing to do with security token offering. Usually, when people are asking me why are not people investing in security token, those crypto investors, it's simply because the crypto investors will probably stay on the crypto investment if you want to make money. As I was mentioning before, so if you want to make really quick and short money in this business, stay in crypto, don't invest in security tokens. Security tokens are just another form of capital formation, very much aligned with the old way of doing capital formation. And why I'm saying that is because those are regulated products, financial instruments. So you have to respect compliance, you have to respect regulations. So those are regulated markets, so you need to do KYC. So it's a whole same way of doing capital formation, but it comes with a different promise, which is this future promise of liquidity. That does not exist today, let's be blunt. There's no liquidity today, there will not be liquidity by the end of the year. First of all, because there are no exchanges. There are exchanges being built for the time being, but before they really start to be operational, before you start to see transaction, this is going to take a while, okay? So short term, what are the benefits of tokenization is you bring tradeability, transferability for those assets. And I'm an investor in Tokeny. I have been investing more than 20 startups for the last 10 years. So for me, this transferability, this tradability is already a great benefit for those like me that have invested in a startup. This is a perspective of liquidity, but short term, you have this tradability and transferability. And in a world that is mostly analog, we work on digital security, but how you process those security is mostly analog. You have to do corporate action with Excel sheet. If you transfer security, you have to go to the notary, you have to sign deeds. If you have investment like me in startup, you have to collect the invitation for the General Assembly. You have to vote by sending back papers. So this is a very cumbersome process. So bringing already transferability and tradability to those assets is already a great benefit. So, well, you're familiar with security tokens, so I don't have to go to this. So you can tokenize today any type of financial assets, right? I know that some people have been saying in this industry that, everybody has its own protocol. Look at Securitize or Token Market or other company. As long as they are ERC20 based, those tokens can be listed on any exchange. We more or less do the same thing. We override the transfer function in the ERC20 that enables basically for those tokens to become what we call permission token. So that means that those tokens cannot be transferred without those platforms giving the permission to transfer them. And by permission, it means that we are checking the compliance associated with those tokens. Can those tokens be transferred? And therefore, only then those tokens can be transferred. But ultimately, you can tokenize any form of assets. What we've seen lately is more activity on the funds and on the capital market, meaning debt side. Not so much in equity. Of course, every company that wants to raise money wants to do an STO, because again, they have the dream of the ICO world that you can raise 100 million overnight, but that's not going to happen. So today, those projects equity driven are not really successful with security token offering. We do see a lot of projects related to real estate, and probably a lot of good stuff that will be in the market in the coming month that will also bring the traditional investors, not the crypto investor, but the traditional investor to this market as well, which is how we can create a mass market over time. So as I was saying, today we're talking about the future of banking, but all that relates to capital market and the processing is analog. So we need to help this industry in order to transform this industry by bringing the proper tools to facilitate that transition. The benefits of blockchain. So the trust is really the differentiator. And when people are asking me, do you think that this market will refly? I always say this financial world is efficient, right? If they can save 10 basis points or even less, they will move on those infrastructure, because this is how it works. So yes, you have a global infrastructure now that are able to save infrastructure costs, and the financial world will benefit from that infrastructure for sure, leverage it at least. talking about all the benefit of blockchain. We all know that, as I said, liquidity is not there today, will not happen overnight. So first we focus on transferability and tradeability. We also bring automation in the process that we've mentioned before. So the big difference, of course, associated with security token is the programmability. That's what to say. So security token is basically a piece of code, right? And you can basically write the compliance within the token natively. Tokens will be traded globally. That's the promise of blockchain. Although we see most of the exchange being centralized one, but our vision, at least at Tokeny, is that this has to be a decentralized market. So you will have DEX, decentralized exchanges, coming up shortly, and therefore, since those tokens will be traded outside of centralized exchange, the compliance need to be embedded in the tokens. So the token carry the compliance, and this is why they can circulate globally. Of course, you need to have solution to monitor the rules associated with that compliance and make sure that those rules are respected when being transferred. But this is really the uniqueness of security token is this programmability. So how does issuance work? So you have an issuance platform. Tokeny is an issuance platform. I think that we have in the world something like 5-6 platforms today that have been doing security token offering and that have a decent product. So it's all come with the financial structuring, but no different than traditional project. Legal documentation. We're not lawyers. We work with lawyers, DLA Pipers, CMS, company that knows what they do in order to structure your offering. They write the legal documentation. If you do a private placement, you have to have a private placement memorandum. If you do a public placement, you have to have a prospectus as per the prospectus directive. So this is, again, the traditional world of finance. And you, of course, here you have a digital onboarding. So all this KYC process is done through the platform, and we have integrated the Tokeny different KYC providers such as OnFido, Identity Mine or ID Now, and other more traditional KYC providers such as Deloitte, Custom House, that enable basically to do the check of the KYC document for institutional investors. Then, of course, in the tokenization itself, you have to respect the offering rules. Again, referring to the world of finance, if you have a numbers of investors, you can reach out in a private placement, for example, as per EU law, you cannot communicate to more than 150 investors. Communicate, I mean, if you were more than 150 investors here in the room, I will not be able to present my offering. So you have to respect those rules. They have to be coded in the smart contract in a way, and you have to have a platform supporting that. You have, of course, investor rule, country of residence, restriction. There are 5 sanctioned countries in the world. You cannot send anything to them, Iran being part of that, so you have to respect that. And you have to create a shareholder list, what we call a white list, to make sure that once you will be issuing those tokens, you will be issuing that to the proper wallet. So you create tokens, you verify the identity, and you allocate the tokens. Tokeny has been implementing a unique process with regards to the identification of investors. It's called investorid.org. It's something that we have basically developed in the industry in order to create a standard for enabling investors to transfer security. KYC is a big problem, obviously, and if you don't mutualize KYC, you will not enable this market to grow, because in decentralized exchanges, I cannot send a token to someone and that person will have to do KYC every time you buy a token. That's not possible. So that's why we came with this idea of creating investorid.org and suggest KYC provider to mutualize the information. And then obviously the security life cycle. Security tokens are securities, so you need to basically provide the service during the life of those instruments. It's corporate actions, voting, reporting, very important for fiscal reasons. If I buy a security on the secondary market in France, I need to report that to the Treasury within 30 days on a specific form, which is the 2740, which is of course in French. So if you are a Japanese investor, I will really challenge that investor to do that reporting. So this is where we provide services as well, and we monitor the transfer. That's how the process works. I have 2 minutes left, so I could continue for an hour, but I won't. I apologize for speaking very fast, that's the way I am. But now you have 5 minutes to ask questions.